Mustapha Hamid ne court case on sensem na busua ene yakwa kopie mu e court a ensema ebobo free hoba no abusua Mustapha Hamid asem atono busua then na esi e political highway so Mustapha Hamid the fourth accused of a Mustapha Hamid in the case no abusua ene yeda sore ya odimrika akwa kopie mu e OSP office or the American copy more OSP office now office or no copy na busu and then man copy office or abusia papa no copy more office wa catch OSP say sisi ano wa surrender ontumi ne eye state no entwe diary bia ontumi endi eye Mustapha Hamid na chibio sisi ano oba be ye prosecutioner witness asemwe fourth accused person or say afi or no momo ba be prosecutional witness e the ama state no na we NHS OSPT asem no say no ye wa ba asempa say wo say obeye state obeye prosecutional witness e the ama state ne dia any information bia efa eye charges a ye dey abom Mustapha Hamid no abusua fourth accused person we or say obedwere bibi agu wa shocking Mustapha Hamid no or tinisu e wo court o twa na ni to bia abusua enye fourth accused person na eja memenim se ye nyina no ride or die no sisi ano wa dwane atoa OSP say oba be testify against Mustapha Hamid na abusua evidence upon evidence wa drop e de ama eye OSP no Mustapha Hamid na so be yes papa enti no eye OSP nso no eye fourth accused person with the charges against ono no abusua wa drop sa charges no amanaka eye Mustapha Hamid ene omo aka abusua yensa mombre mom yenko na yenkonkotie ensema ekosto our political highway so unsubscribe ya subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na be any updates be ebe drop no onso onsa ebetumi akabi gossip politics TV so unsubscribe ya subscribe
of the directors of KL Logistics Limited Albert Ankra after he agreed to testify as prosecution witness in the ongoing case, or this criminal case against the former CEO of the NPA, Mustapha Hamid, and 9 others. The OSP, according to what we're gleaning, will therefore have to amend the current charges filed against the accused persons. Now, in court earlier today, Principal Prosecutor with the Office of Special Prosecutor, Adelaide Kubiri Wood, informed the court that following discussions with Albert Ankra, the fourth accused in this matter, and his lawyer, the prosecution has withdrawn the charges against him and will now proceed with him as a witness for the prosecution. Now, the principal prosecutor further requested time to file a fresh charge sheet, noting that this development would then change the prosecution's approach to the case. But here's exactly what the prosecution said in court, and this was transcribed based on our witnesses and then our senior court correspondents who sat through this case to observe it earlier today. The office of the OSP has since taken a decision not to proceed with the prosecution of the fourth accused person, Albert Ankra, but rather put him before the court as a witness for the prosecution. This says today in court, the prosecution announced that the fourth accused has approached the office expressing willingness. This is what the OSP is saying, that today in court, the prosecution announced that the fourth accused has approached the office, that's his office, expressing willingness to serve as a prosecution witness. So this is what the OSP said, that Mr. Ankra approached it. The office currently is considering his request. This is what the OSP said. But in court today, the OSP says, and this is it, that they have since taken a decision not to proceed with the prosecution of the fourth accused person, Albert Ankra, but rather put him before the court as a witness for the prosecution. So there's some two contrasting positions in here. So, from what we understand, this is what went on the records of the court earlier today. Lawyer I'll bring you in here, but taking into consideration what happened in court and what the OSP is actually saying as well, that there's actually consideration now for this fourth accused to be a prosecution witness. Counsel.
Yeah, so for me, I see it as a huge step forward in unraveling the case. Huge step forward because I'm assuming that yes, the prosecutor, this Mrs. Wood, or is it Miss Wood,
Yeah.
Adelaide Kubiri Wood, knows what she's talking about. Because you see, when an accused person has agreed to come and testify for you, that means that he'll be speaking as an insider, somebody who was part of the transactions that are alleged to be illegal, that are alleged to be criminal. It means that his evidence will be weighty. It brings great insight into the case. So, from where I sit, I assume that what they've heard from Mr. Ankra is weighty enough for them, that's the OSP, to withdraw this Ankra as an accused person and to use him as a witness. So it's going to help extremely. It's going to help make the case easier, because this is somebody who is alleged to be with those people. And now he says, I'm coming from deep down the river to come and tell you what happened. Like the way we say that when a frog comes from deep down the river to tell you that crocodile is dead, you can't argue with that. The frog. That's the analogy I can see. So he was with them.
I see. But kindly hold on a bit for me. Andy Apiakubi is also your learned colleague, private legal practitioner. He's lawyer to Chairman Wontumi in another case, also involving the OSP. But Andy Apiakubi, thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. Also, former member of parliament for the Asante Achim North constituency. Appreciate your time. Now, first off, what issues do you have with this approach by both the Attorney General and the OSP to have accused persons who come in willingly testify as prosecution witnesses?
Yes, indeed. I'm very disappointed at the approach of the Attorney General's department in prosecuting criminal matters. What has been the norm lately has been that Attorney General will entice accused persons to become prosecution witnesses against other accused persons. And I don't think that is fair, because the people who have been accused of having committed some crimes are now being turned into support Attorney General's case. It is a possibility that they will be motivated by their release, and therefore tender evidence beyond would qualify as credible evidence. So it is not, for me, it's not the best way to prosecute alleged criminals. So when you attract somebody, his motivation is that he is left off the hook, and therefore he has to also give the Attorney General some leverage by testifying in support of the Attorney General's case. I'm not sure that this is the best way to go ahead with prosecution. It is turning out to be that Attorney General seeks to obtain conviction by all means. That is not the mandate of the Attorney General. Indeed, if he finds evidence that supports the accused person's case, the Attorney General is duty bound to provide that evidence to support even the prosecution's, the defense case. But the way it is, people who would have given witness statements against the Attorney General, who actually would otherwise have been prosecuted as accused persons, it turns the whole thing upside down. So it is not the best of situations. Is it the case that Attorney General cannot find evidence on his own and seeks to court some accused persons to? And in my particular case, there is this a person who is being used as a prosecution witness. He comes into the box and he says that I have done A, B, C, D, which is contrary to the law.
I see. But then again, in this particular case of the special prosecutor, which is under consideration now, he says this Albert Ankra, with his lawyers, approached his office to now request, and in fact, it was upon his own prayer and pleading that he be made a prosecution witness. It was not by the convincing or the coaxing or coaching of the OSP. And in fact, the Attorney General has maintained in previous instances where similar cases have happened, where accused persons have now agreed to testify as prosecution witnesses, that there's no coaxing or coaching or convincing. They come on their own prayer and plea. So where are you getting this from?
This one bit. How come that those persons didn't come as accused prosecution witnesses, but having been charged as accused persons, then they come and submit themselves to you and say that we want to be prosecution witnesses? This you can tell the Marines. You cannot tell us that this has been the case, and it is becoming too many that people who are otherwise accused and brought to court under some charges turn out to be prosecution witnesses against other accused persons. It is so unfair because there's also a possibility that they even go beyond what they know to also become witnesses. It is a stereotype. They are coached to come and give evidence against others. And in most cases, you see that the evidence they give, they are not consistent. A lot of lapses in the evidence, but is also very bad. So we don't have to find people who are accused persons and say because of we are political lineage, we need to find a way to convict you by all means. And that is why some of the people are being turned out to be prosecution witnesses. But we live to see. But let us all not forget that the criminal justice system is there for all of us. And now, today, we have somebody who is facing criminal charges and who is being prosecuted and getting people to prosecute him as witnesses, also people who would have otherwise have committed offenses.
I see, but Martin Bebo, let me end with you on this. The concern, and the Honorable Andy Apiakubi raises as well, is that to the extent that these accused persons, before they are made prosecution witnesses, their charges against them are dropped. So that is more like an enticement for accused persons to now want to testify as prosecution witnesses. Do you share in that concern?
Well, you see, by its nature, plea bargaining involves a quid pro quo. Okay? Yes, quid pro quo. So sometimes you come and volunteer some information that's so weighty that they will decide not to continue with your prosecution. To say that those persons will be motivated to lie, yes, we cannot rule it out, but the saving grace is that whatever the witness comes to say, he'll be subject or she will be subject to cross-examination. So the other lawyers will get to ask. So in the case of Apia Kubi, when that thing happened, that one of Chairman Wuntimi's personal assistants or workers who was standing trial with him volunteered to give information. Yes, I'm sure Apia Kubi had the opportunity to cross-examine him. That's the system we have. It's been there for decades. You say those are some of the shortcomings of the system, but that's the way it's been. It's been centuries that if you bring somebody who was a co-accused to come and testify, he'll be subject to cross-examination. So, well, you know, I always say, well, as people complain, we'll think twice and see if there's a way we can, improve the system. But that's what it takes. The person says, listen, I'm accused of an offense. Now, I want to come and volunteer to help the state so that my charges will be dropped. That is it. The law allows for it. The law allows for it. You see it? The law allows for it. So if you think, and you see, it's not just Ghana. You see it in the UK. You see it in the US. I mean, all the, well, I won't say all, most of the advanced countries that I've seen, it's allowed. The person participated, he's sorry, he's remorseful, so now he wants to make it easier for the state to prosecute, and he says he wants to come in and spill the beans. Are we now being told that no, we shouldn't take it? That's how come that I say the remedy to it
Right,
is that
thank you.
there's what we call cross-examination. Yes.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, abusua we ne ensema ekoso e political highway ne so Mustapha Hamid and HSN the fourth accused person abusua what turn against him as Sisiano Oji Nyoma Egu Abonte. Bramase samoje pene kokoti sa ensem we edema aha gossip politics TV so bramase.